Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Buffalo Sports Center. I am Don. With me today is Cal, and we are going to talk about the Bills and their little injury crisis heading into this wild card game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cal, given the injuries, given the weather, this doesn't seem like a slam dunk wild card game anymore for the Bills now, does it?
No, not at all. I mean, the spread is 10 points right now, and I find that hard to believe. Again, the weather could be horrible. We could have 60-mile-an-hour winds, up to 7 inches of snow. This does not look like a great game. And it could be a very sloppy game. We could see the Bills easily lose this game
Yeah.
just due to the weather. And again, bad weather usually, negatively affects the more talented team, usually helps out the worst team. And I think the worst team is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So this game's up in the air right now.
Yeah, and I've mentioned it a couple times already, and this is why you clicked on the video, but the Bills suffered some injuries coming out of that Week 18 brawl versus the Miami Dolphins. Let's talk a little bit about it here, and let's start off with probably the biggest story of the weekend. Is Gabe Davis going to play, yes or no?
I'm gonna go with no. I think it's on the fence. I know it's playoff. I know, usually you push guys, but I think he will be out 1 week with that injury, that leg injury. Now, again, I think if this is in a dome, if it's in a controlled area where you don't have to worry about ligaments and joints and all that, slipping on the turf, I think maybe he does go this week. But I think the severity of the injury, a knee injury, a leg injury, you really don't want to push a guy like that, especially if it's going to be a wind and snow game where you're not really going to use your wide receivers all that much anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing with Gabe Davis is he is a pretty good blocking receiver, and I think you are going to need some good blockers in this game. We saw that double block last game against Miami on that Shakir screen, which was one of the top wide receiver blocks of the season for the Bills. But I don't think Gabe Davis plays.
Yeah, he suffered that non-contact knee injury. He was just kind of running around and stumbled a little bit and suddenly was limping and didn't suit up too for the second half. So that was a really big loss for the Bills. Another big loss here this weekend is Terrel Dodson. Cal, same question. Is he playing?
Now, this one I'm very on the fence about. I think it's 50-50. It's a shoulder injury, could definitely be an AC joint, which you can play through. You can play through the pain. But also, guys typically miss around 2 to 3 weeks with this injury. Now, again, it is a playoff game, and Terrell Dodson is a great run stuffing linebacker. So this is kind of the opposite of Gabe Davis. You really need a guy like this. So I think if he's, anywhere near the fence, they push him to play. But for what I'm hearing right now, it doesn't seem like it's probable. I'd probably put him questionable. I'd probably put him 50-50. It could really go either way. I can't even make up my mind on this one.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult. And there's also some more injuries to discuss. The injury report released on Thursday. We'll see the final one Friday. That will be released later today. And, going down the list, there's a lot of do not plays. Probably another really big one here for the Bills. Cornerback Rasul Douglas. He also left the game against Miami. But this report seems to be a little more favorable than the other two. Cal?
Yeah, again, it's a similar injury to Gabe Davis where it's the knee. Again, you don't really want him pivoting on that and, making hard cuts in this bad weather. So if it is snowy, I could see them hold him out. I don't think he'll be out long term. I think if the Bills do advance, he returns in the next game. But right now, I'd probably lean towards no for Rasul Douglas, just being a cornerback, that knee injury. I think Dane Jackson honestly stepped up to the plate and played a very good game towards the end of that Miami game. So right now, Rasul Douglas, again, all of these guys, they could play. I don't think anyone's really ruled out yet. Again, we'll find out tomorrow, or, after the time of this recording. But right now, Rasul Douglas, I'm on the fence about it, but I'm leaning no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the Bills are banged up going into this game, and these three are the biggest ones. Now, Dawson Knox has been suffering from an illness this week. Taylor Rapp has also suffered from a calf injury. We saw him clearly come up from that game-winning interception. A little hobbled as well, much like Rasul Douglas after one of his plays. What are the odds that Taylor Rapp is able to get going?
Again, a lot of, it's tough because the Bills, again, did a walkthrough on Tuesday and they practiced inside on Wednesday, which limited the media's availability and limited the media to be able to see exactly what guys were doing out there. But again, Taylor Rapp did not practice both days. I think he does practice today, but again, he's 50-50. And if you're without Taylor Rapp, you're really counting on Damar Hamlin to step up, and he really hasn't had to play that much this year. So Taylor Rapp, I think they're really going to try to push to play, but right now it's not looking great. It's one of those injuries where it's just It's not a long-term one, but it's kind of just an annoying injury where you can't really play to your fullest. So we'll see what happens. I think they try to push him like all the other guys, but right now, again, on the fence.
Yeah, and it's going to be really on the fence. Now, do you think these seriously affect the Bills this weekend, given that it's most likely going to be a wintry, windy weather bowl?
Yeah, and again, that does even it out. So, like we said, this helps the Steelers probably that it's bad weather. Well, hey, if a lot of the Bills, starters are out due to injury, maybe it's not the worst thing because the backups will not look as bad. The talent gap won't be as bad if it is kind of a limited run and bunch them up type of game. So, this could definitely play to the Bills' favor if they do decide, hey, it's not really going to matter if our outside receiver or number one cornerback plays because they're not going to be throwing the ball anyway. Maybe
Hmm.
we give them an extra week, hope we win, and then have them back to full health instead of risking a more major injury. Now, we got to bring up Ty Johnson as well. Still in that concussion protocol. He was limited both days, which gives me hope. Maybe he'll exit that protocol. I know in the beginning of the season, a lot of those guys were definitely in that protocol for the full week. Towards the end of the season, it seems like guys are progressing a little bit quicker. And I don't want to call out the NFL at all for, rushing the process or maybe trying to hold back on the process when it didn't matter as much in the beginning of the season. But it does look like the concussion protocol has been a little bit quicker of a process towards the end of the year. So maybe he'll, cycle through that a little quicker than you would expect and play. If he doesn't, though, I think, again, the weather definitely favors a more power style running back like Latavius Murray and Leonard Fournette. I think Fournette will get a lot of touches
Yeah.
if it's windy and cold and snowy. James Cook will certainly get some outside touches here and there, but I think Fournette's going to be a massive piece of this team.
Yeah, and it's going to be huge to see what these injuries, how they affect the team. But as we have mentioned, it's going to be a nasty, nasty game for both teams. The gap is not going to be clear, and that's why a lot of Bills fans are starting to get nervous. That's why a lot of Steelers fans are suddenly becoming confident in their odds to somehow pull off the improbable upset this weekend. But folks, that's it from us. Tell us in the comment section how you think these will affect the team in any way, shape, or form. I was Don. This was Cal. This is Buffalo Sports Center. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And see y'all in the next video. Peace out.